The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. Then our battleships broke the silence part. The message arrived on a Tuesday morning. It came not through radio waves or internet connections, but through a strange device that materialized in the middle of the United Nations Assembly Hall. The device was a small black cube that floated 3 feet above the floor. Before anyone could touch it, the cube projected a tall, reptilian figure with 4 arms and skin that looked like polished copper. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Relthun of the Zorian Empire, representative of the Galactic Conquered. Your world has been scheduled for annexation and protection. You have 30 days to prepare for integration. Resistance is unnecessary and would only result in harm to your population." The projection vanished, leaving the floating cube. The UN hall erupted into chaos. Within an hour, the same message had appeared in 12 other locations around the world. In Beijing, Moscow, London, and other capitals, government officials scrambled to understand what was happening. News channels broadcast the message on repeat. Some people panicked. Others refused to believe it was real. In a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral John Mason watched the message for the 6th time. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. His weathered face showed no emotion as the ITO alien delivered its threat again. "What do we know about them?" John asked. Lisa Carter, the chief diplomatic officer, stood next to him. She had dark skin and wore her hair in a neat bun. "Not much. Our deep space monitoring stations detected their ship entering the solar system yesterday. It's currently in orbit around Mars." "Just one ship?" John asked. "Yes, sir. It's large, about the size of an aircraft carrier, but nothing we can't handle." John nodded slowly. "They think we're defenseless." "That seems to be their assumption," Lisa replied. John pressed a button on the table. "Get me the president." 3 hours later, John sat at a large round table with 24 people. They were the leaders and representatives of the world's most powerful nations. On screens around the room, another 30 leaders watched and listened. The President of the United States stood at the head of the table. "Ladies and gentlemen, I've asked Admiral Mason to brief us on our options," the President said. "Admiral, please proceed." John stood up. For the past 40 years, the world's major powers have been part of a classified program called Silent Shield. This program was created after we recovered alien technology from crashed ships in the 1950s and 60s. He tapped a control, and a hologram appeared above the table showing the solar system. We have built a fleet of warships using reverse-engineered alien technology. These ships are hidden at bases on the far side of the moon and in the asteroid belt. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Even some world leaders looked shocked. They had known about parts of the program, but not its full extent. We currently have 57 battleships and 112 smaller vessels ready for combat. John continued. The technology on these ships is advanced. We believe we can defend Earth against this threat. "Why weren't we informed of this?" asked the German Chancellor. "Compartmentalization," John replied. Each nation contributed to different aspects of the program. Only a handful of people knew the full scope. The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. "What do you propose, Admiral?" asked the Chinese president. "I suggest we appear to negotiate while we mobilize our fleet. The alien ship is watching us from Mars orbit, but our lunar base is shielded from their sensors. We can have our forces ready within 48 hours. The Russian president leaned forward. "And then what? We attack?" John shook his head. "No. We reveal our strength. If they're reasonable, they'll recognize we're not easy prey and open real negotiations. If not..." He didn't need to finish the thought. The meeting continued for hours as they developed a plan. By evening, a response had been drafted. A team would meet with the alien ambassador and request more time to consider the offer. Meanwhile, the secret fleet would prepare for battle. At the lunar base, Daniel Wright worked frantically to prepare the ships. He was the lead engineer, a thin man with glasses and quick hands. His team moved through the enormous underground hangar, checking systems and loading supplies. "The EDS Defiance is ready, sir," reported a young engineer. The Defiance was Earth's flagship, the largest and most powerful vessel humans had ever built. Good, Daniel replied. What about the shield generators? All functioning at 98% or better. Daniel nodded and continued his rounds. The hangar was a hive of activity as crews prepared 20 ships for immediate launch. The rest of the fleet was being readied at other bases. In a quiet office above the hangar, Samantha Powell studied data streams from Earth's spy satellites. As an intelligence officer, her job was to gather information about the alien visitors. She was slender, with short blonde hair and intense focus. Their communications suggest they're overconfident, she told John when he entered the room. They've sent messages back to their fleet saying this will be an easy annexation. Good, John said. The more they underestimate us, the better. There's something else, Samantha added. I've intercepted transmissions from their ship to 3 other species in the Galactic Concord. It sounds like not everyone in their alliance is happy with how the Zorians treat lesser species. John raised an eyebrow. Potential allies? Maybe, if we prove we're strong enough. 3 days later, the alien ambassador returned for Earth's answer. World leaders had gathered in New York, appearing nervous and divided. It was a carefully crafted show. Have you prepared for annexation? Relthune asked, his hologram towering over the assembled humans. The president stepped forward. We need more time to prepare our people. The alien's upper arms crossed in a gesture of annoyance. Time is not available. Your answer is required now. At that moment, John spoke into his secure communicator. Execute Silent Shield. In space, hidden ships around the moon powered up their engines. The EDS Defiance led the formation, a massive vessel nearly a mile long with sleek lines and powerful weapons. Captain Eric Miller sat in the command chair on the bridge. All ships report ready, Captain, said George Washington, the tactical officer. Everyone called him Wash. Take us out, Eric ordered. Let's show our visitors we're not as helpless as they think. The fleet emerged from hiding, moving into formation between Earth and Mars. On screens around the world, people watched in amazement as humanity's secret defenders revealed themselves for the first time. In New York, the president smiled at the stunned alien ambassador. Ambassador Relthune, Earth has a response to your annexation plan. Admiral Mason will deliver it. John stepped forward as screens showed the impressive human fleet. We've been watching the stars far longer than you've been watching us, John said firmly. Earth is not joining your concord as a subject. We're willing to talk as equals or not at all. The alien's golden eyes widened in shock. The galaxy had thought Earth was defenseless. They were wrong. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. Then our battleships broke the silence part. To Ambassador Relthune's hologram flickered as the alien tried to process what was happening. The copper-skinned being had not expected this. Humans were supposed to be primitive, barely able to reach their own moon. Yet here they were, revealing a fleet of warships that rivaled anything in the Galactic Concord. This is impossible, Relthune said finally. Your species has been under observation. You do not possess this level of technology. The president smiled. We are very good at keeping secrets, Ambassador. In space, Captain Eric Miller stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance. He was a solid man with a square jaw and calm eyes that had seen combat both on Earth and in secret operations beyond. The main screen showed the Zorian ship near Mars, which was now moving toward Earth. They're powering up weapons, reported Wash from the tactical station. Shields at maximum, Eric ordered. But do not fire unless I command it. Helen Brooks worked at the systems console, her fingers dancing over the controls as she communicated with the ship's artificial intelligence. She was slim with auburn hair and had an unusual gift for understanding the hybrid alien-human technology. The AI is anticipating their targeting patterns, Helen said. It suggests a 30-degree roll to optimize shield coverage. Do it, Eric replied. The massive ship turned slightly, just as the Zorian vessel fired what they called a warning shot, a beam of energy that would have crippled a less advanced ship. The beam struck the Defiance's shields, which flared bright blue but held firm. On Earth, everyone watching the space encounter held their breath. This was the moment of truth. Return the courtesy, Eric said calmly. Target their primary weapon array only. Minimal power. Wash grinned as he locked onto the target. Firing. A pulse of green energy shot from the Defiance, traveling the distance to the Zorian ship in seconds. It hit with surgical precision, disabling the alien vessel's main weapons without causing catastrophic damage. Status of the Zorian ship? Eric asked. Their weapons are offline, Wash confirmed. Life support and engines still functioning. Eric opened a channel to Admiral Mason on Earth. Admiral, Phase 1 complete. The Zorian ship has been neutralized without destruction. In the United Nations building, Ambassador Relthune received a message from his ship. The alien's forearms moved, in agitation. Your attack on our vessel is an act of war, Relthune declared. The full might of the Galactic Concord will descend upon your world. John Mason stepped forward. Ambassador, let's be clear. You fired first. We responded with minimal force, targeting only weapon systems. If we wanted to destroy your ship, we could have. The alien was silent for a moment. How did you acquire this technology? We've had visitors before, John replied. Not all were as unfriendly as you. Some crashed. We learned. Relthune's golden eyes narrowed. This changes nothing. I will return to the Concord and report your resistance. Our battle fleet will come. Before you go, Lisa Carter interjected, stepping forward with diplomatic grace. Consider delivering a different message. Tell your leaders that Earth wishes to join the Galactic Concord as an equal member, not a subject. We can offer much to your alliance. The alien seemed to consider this briefly before responding. The Zorian Empire does not negotiate with pre-spacefaring species. Your defiance will be met with force. With that, the hologram disappeared. The black cube fell to the floor, no longer active. John turned to Lisa. It was worth a try. They'll be back, she said, with more ships, and we'll be ready. Back on the Defiance, the crew watched as the Zorian ship retreated, moving rapidly out of the solar system. They're sending transmissions, Helen reported. Lots of them. Can you intercept? Eric asked. Some. They're calling for reinforcements, describing our fleet, our weapons. Olivia Ryan, the ship's doctor, entered the bridge. She was worried. Captain, I need to speak with you. Eric stepped aside with her. What is it, Doctor? 3 crew members have reported unusual symptoms after that energy beam hit our shields, Olivia explained quietly. Headaches, nausea, strange marks on their skin. Radiation? Not like any I've seen. It's affecting the crew members who are closest to the shield generators. Eric frowned. Keep monitoring them. I want hourly reports. He returned to his position as Helen called out, Captain, we're detecting power fluctuations in our secondary systems. Source? Unknown. It started after the Zorian weapon hit us. The AI is having trouble isolating it. Eric opened a channel to Daniel Wright in engineering. Daniel, we're seeing power fluctuations. What's happening down there? In the engine room. Daniel and his team were already working on the problem. Strange, Captain. The energy from their weapon seems to have affected our power distribution network. We're containing it, but I need time to understand what's happening. You have 2 hours, Eric replied. I need all systems at 100% before more aliens arrive. As the Defiance returned to lunar orbit, Admiral Mason called an emergency meeting of fleet commanders. Representatives from all 57 battleships gathered either in person or via secure hologram in the lunar base's command center. The Zorians will return with their battle fleet, John told them. Based on the data we've collected, we estimate we have between 3 and 7 days before they arrive. How many ship? Asked one commander. Intelligence suggests at least 200 vessels, Samantha Powell replied. She had just arrived from Earth with the latest reports. Possibly more. The room grew quiet as the officers calculated the odds. Even with Earth's advanced technology, they would be outnumbered at least 3 to 1. We have advantages they don't know about, John continued. Our ships can operate within planetary atmospheres. We have defense platforms hidden throughout the solar system, and most importantly, we're fighting for our home." He walked around the table, looking at each commander. They think this will be easy. They think one demonstration of our capabilities isn't enough to worry them, but they've never faced humans before. John activated a holographic display showing the solar system. "We will use every asteroid, every moon, every bit of space dust to our advantage. We know this system. They don't." As the meeting continued back on the Defiance, Helen made a discovery. She rushed to find Captain Eric. "Captain, I've been analyzing the data from our encounter," she said excitedly. "The Zorian weapons are designed to disrupt standard shield configurations used throughout the Galactic Concord, but our shields are different. We integrated the alien technology with human innovations." "Meaning what?" Eric asked. Helen smiled. "Meaning our ships can take hits that would destroy their own vessels. They don't know how our systems work, and that gives us an edge." For the first time since the aliens had appeared, Eric felt a spark of hope. Earth wasn't just fighting for survival. They had a real chance to win. Across Earth, people prepared for the coming battle. They had just witnessed humanity's greatest secret, and now faced their greatest threat. But they weren't defenseless. Not anymore. The silence had been broken. Now it was time to fight. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. Then our battleships broke the silence part. Three days after the Zorian ship left, Earth was busy preparing for war. On Mars, inside a hidden base built into the side of Olympus Mons, Patricia Nelson watched as supply ships arrived from Earth. Patricia was a former astronaut who now commanded Mars Base Alpha, home to 2,000 people and 20 warships. "Status report," she requested as she entered the control room. Her second-in-command looked up from his screens. "All ships are at combat readiness. The last supply vessel just docked with food and medical supplies." Patricia nodded. She was a practical woman with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. "And the new shield modifications?" Engineer Wright sent the plans. "We're implementing them now." Mars Base had been humanity's first major off-world colony, disguised as a small research station on the surface. Below ground was a vast complex where people had lived and worked for 30 years, building ships and training for the day aliens would discover Earth. That day had come sooner than expected. Back on Earth, Alan Garcia sat in a darkened room surrounded by screens showing information from across the galaxy. As head of Earth intelligence, he had agents on a dozen worlds. Most were humans who had been secretly living among alien civilizations for years. Some were aliens who opposed the Zorian Empire's expansion. A message appeared on his main screen. It was heavily encrypted, coming from a source deep in Zorian territory. "Fleet movement confirmed," it read. 243 vessels en route to Sol system. Estimated arrival 51 hours. Alan immediately sent the information to Admiral Mason. The countdown had begun. At the lunar base, Kevin West worked in a specialized lab developing new weapons. He was younger than most senior staff, with a genius for turning theoretical physics into working technology. His current project was spread across 3 large tables. "Will it be ready in time?" John Mason asked as he entered the lab. Kevin didn't look up from his work. "It has to be. The quantum disruptor is our best chance against their larger ships." The device they were discussing looked simple, a small silver cylinder attached to a larger power unit. But inside was technology that could unravel the atomic bonds of any material. "How many can you make?" John asked. 5, maybe 6 with the materials we have. Make as many as you can. I've authorized anything you need." In another part of the base, Daniel Wright was examining the data from the Defiance's encounter with the Zorian weapon. The power fluctuations troubled him. Something about the alien energy beam had affected Earth's technology in unexpected ways. Helen Brooks joined him, bringing new analysis from the ship's AI. "I think I understand what happened," she said. "Our ships use a biological interface component." Daniel nodded. This was one of Earth's most closely guarded secrets. Their ships weren't just machines, they contained living tissue grown from alien samples recovered decades ago, integrated with human technology. The Zorian weapon affected the biocomponents, Helen continued. It didn't just hit our shields. It tried to communicate with our systems. Daniel's eyes widened. Are you saying their weapons have a biological element too? Yes. And it recognized something in our ships. This was a troubling discovery, but it might also be useful. If the Zorian technology could communicate with Earth's biosystems, perhaps they could use that connection against the aliens. Meanwhile, Michelle Adams was working on diplomatic channels. As Earth's representative to potential alien allies, she had been sending messages to various species that intelligence suggested might be sympathetic. A response finally came from the Tyrellians, a peaceful race that had been conquered by the Zorian Empire 50 years earlier. We are watching, the message said simply. If Earth stands strong, others will stand with you. It wasn't a promise of help, but it was hope. Michelle sent the message to Admiral Mason and Lisa Carter. Perhaps Earth wouldn't have to fight alone. On the Defiance, Captain Eric Miller reviewed battle plans with his officers. The ship had been repaired, and the strange power fluctuations were under control, though not fully understood. Our strategy depends on surprise, Eric explained. We can't match their numbers, so we'll use the solar system itself as a weapon. The plan was daring. Earth ships would hide near Jupiter and Saturn, using the gas giants' radiation and magnetic fields to mask their presence. When the Zorian fleet arrived, they would attack from multiple directions, causing confusion. What about the civilians on Earth? Asked Olivia, the doctor. The 3 crew members affected by the strange radiation were recovering, but she worried about what would happen if the Zorians attacked population centers. Earth has activated the planetary shield network, Eric replied. It won't stop everything, but it should prevent orbital bombardment. This was another secret project. Thousands of small shield generators hidden around the world, designed to create a protective bubble around the planet if needed. As preparations continued, John Mason visited a special facility beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Here, in a chamber that few humans had ever seen, lay the source of Earth's advanced technology. It was an alien ship that had crashed in 1947. Not in Roswell as the public believed, but in the deep ocean where it had remained hidden. The ship was unlike any other alien vessel discovered since. Its technology was organic, almost alive, and had taken decades to understand. The chief scientist met John at the entrance. The core is responding to the recent activity, she said. It's becoming more aware. They walked to the center of the ship where a pulsing blue mass floated in a containment field. It was neither fully machine nor fully alive. Something in between. Can we communicate with it? John asked. Not directly, but it seems to understand our intentions. It's been helping us more than usual since the Zorians arrived. This mysterious core had been the key to Earth's technological leap forward. It had somehow guided human scientists to create the biomechanical systems that powered their fleet. As John left the facility, he received an urgent message. Long-range sensors had detected the Zorian fleet entering the outer solar system. They were arriving sooner than expected. All ships battle stations, he ordered. This is not a drill. Across the solar system, Earth's defenders moved into position. The Defiance led a group of 30 ships into Jupiter's shadow. Other vessels hid among Saturn's rings or took position in the asteroid belt. Patricia Nelson's Mars squadron powered, down to minimal systems, becoming nearly invisible against the red planet's surface. On Earth, people looked up at the sky, knowing that the battle for humanity's future would soon begin among the stars. The planetary shields were activated, creating a slight shimmer in the atmosphere that was barely visible. In New York, Lisa Carter met with world leaders. Our intel suggests the Zorians plan to make an example of Earth, she explained. They can't allow a primitive species to challenge them and get away with it. What are our chances? Asked the German Chancellor. Lisa paused before answering. Admiral Mason believes we can win, but the cost will be high. We've already evacuated critical personnel to underground facilities. As she spoke, sensors detected the first Zorian battleships entering Mars orbit. The massive alien vessels dwarfed the ship that had come before. Their design was sleek but menacing, with weapons visible on every surface. The waiting was over. The battle for the solar system was about to begin. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. Then our battleships broke the silence part. For the Zorian fleet entered the solar system with overwhelming force. 243 warships moved in perfect formation, their weapons ready. At the HFY center was the flagship, a massive vessel 3 times larger than anything Earth had built. On the bridge of the EDS Defiance, hidden in Jupiter's shadow, Captain Eric Miller watched the enemy approach on the tactical display. All hands to battle. Stations, he ordered. Prepare for combat. Throughout the ship, crew members moved quickly to their positions. In the engine room, engineers checked systems. Weapons teams armed the quantum disruptors that Kevin West had delivered just hours earlier. Remember the plan, Eric told his officers. We hit fast and vanish, make them chase us. The Zorian fleet split into 3 groups. The largest headed straight for Earth. The second moved toward Mars, likely detecting the human base there. The third spread out searching for Earth's hidden ships. Admiral John Mason coordinated from Lunar Command. All vessels hold position until my mark, he said through the secure channel. Let them come to us. The waiting was the hardest part. On the Defiance, Wash flexed his fingers over the tactical controls. Helen monitored the ship's biological systems, which seemed more alert than usual, as if they sensed the coming battle. When the first Zorian ships passed Jupiter, John gave the order. Fleet Alpha, engage. The Defiance and 20 other ships powered up and emerged from hiding. They raced toward the enemy's flank, weapons firing. The surprise was complete. 3 Zorian vessels were crippled before they could raise shields. Direct hit, Wash called out as the Defiance's main cannon struck an enemy cruiser. The alien ship's engines failed, sending it tumbling through space. But the Zorians recovered quickly. Their remaining ships turned to face the attack, unleashing a barrage of energy weapons. Evasive maneuvers, Eric ordered. The Defiance rolled and dove, avoiding most of the fire. What did hit them was absorbed by their shields. Shield strength. At 82%, Helen reported. The biosystems are adapting to their weapons. This was what they had hoped for. Earthships were learning from each hit, becoming more resistant. As Fleet Alpha engaged the enemy near Jupiter, Patricia Nelson launched her squadron from Mars. They rose from the planet's surface, hitting the searching Zorian ships from below. Target their engines and weapons, Patricia ordered. Don't give them time to report our position. The Mars squadron was smaller, but faster than the alien vessels. They darted between the larger ships, firing precision strikes. 5 Zorian cruisers fell to the surprise attack, but there were too many enemies. The Zorians began to coordinate, trapping several Earth ships in crossfire. 2 human vessels exploded under the concentrated fire. In the asteroid belt, Commander Jack Bennett led a special team of stealth ships. They were smaller than the main battleships designed for speed and surprise. Begin Operation Hornet, came the order from John. Jack and his pilots launched from their hiding places among the rocks. Their ships were practically invisible to sensors, letting them get close to the enemy. Remember, hit and run, Jack told his team. Plant the charges and get out. They approached the largest group of Zorian ships from behind. While the aliens focused on the battles near Jupiter and Mars, Jack's team attached special explosive devices to the engines of 5 enemy dreadnoughts. Susan Rodriguez, his communications specialist, monitored the Zorian transmissions. Sir, I'm detecting a pattern in their communication signals, she reported. There's a central frequency they all use. Can we disrupt it? Jack asked. Susan smiled. Better. I think we can use it to confuse their targeting systems. She quickly programmed a series of false signals that mimicked Zorian command codes. When she broadcast them, several enemy ships fired on each other, thinking they were targeting Earth. Vessels back at Earth, the largest portion of the Zorian fleet approached the planet. They were met by only 10 defending ships. Earth had committed most of its forces to the outer system battles. Pitiful defense, the Zorian fleet commander transmitted. Your world will fall today. The aliens opened fire on the planetary shield. The energy barrier flared bright blue under the assault but held firm. The commander of Earth's Home Guard replied, We are merely the greeting party. That's when the second phase of Earth's plan began. Hundreds of small defense platforms, hidden, in orbit, activated and fired on the Zorian fleet. These unmanned weapons had been placed years ago, disguised as satellites and space debris. At the same time, hidden missile silos on the moon launched their payloads. The Zorians found themselves caught in a web of fire from all directions. Near Jupiter, the battle intensified. The Defiance led a daring charge into the heart of the enemy formation. Ben Harris, their best pilot, executed maneuvers that seemed impossible for such a large ship. Quantum disruptor armed, Wash reported. Target, locked. Fire, ordered Eric. The weapon hit a Zorian battleship dead center. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the alien vessel began to break apart as its atomic bonds unraveled. "It works!" Helen exclaimed. But the Defiance had exposed itself with the attack. Enemy fire converged on the Earth flagship. Alarms blared as shields weakened. Shield strength. At 40%, Helen called out. "We can't take much more of this." A massive hit rocked the ship. Fires broke out on 3 decks. In engineering, Linda Cole worked frantically to repair damaged systems while the battle raged outside. "Rerouting power," she shouted over the noise of escaping steam and groaning metal. "Keep those shields up." Linda was known for performing miracles under pressure. She crawled into a damaged junction, ignoring the heat that burned her hands, and reconnected vital power conduits. Throughout the solar system, the battle continued. Earth forces fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. For every Zorian ship, they disabled. They lost one of their own. John Mason watched from Lunar Command as the tactical situation grew dire. The Defiance was heavily damaged. 2 more Earth battleships had been destroyed. The Mars squadron was retreating under heavy fire. "We need to use the Jupiter weapon," John decided. It was earlier than planned, but they had no choice. He contacted Helen on the Defiance. "Begin the Jupiter maneuver." Helen understood. She and Daniel had prepared a special device that could manipulate Jupiter's massive magnetic field, turning it into a weapon against the Zorian fleet. As the Defiance limped away from the battle, Helen activated the device. Jupiter swirling, clouds began to glow with strange energy. The planet's magnetic field twisted and focused, creating a wave of energy that washed over the nearby Zorian ships. Their systems failed. Shields collapsed. Weapons went offline. 27 enemy vessels were rendered helpless by the sudden electromagnetic pulse, but the weapon took tremendous power to operate. The Defiance's engines shut down completely, leaving them drifting in space. "All emergency power to life support," Eric ordered. As the battle seemed to reach its climax, sensors detected new ships entering the system. The Zorians believed these. Were their reinforcements finally arriving? They were wrong. 3 sleek vessels of unfamiliar design appeared. They were neither human nor Zorian. In an instant, they opened fire on the Zorian flagship, their weapons cutting through the alien shields like they weren't even there. "Who are they?" Eric asked as they watched on the remaining functional screen. A transmission came through. "People of Earth. The Tyrellians stand with you. So do the Arctarians and the Novan Collective. Your courage has inspired us all." For the first time in the battle, hope filled the bridge of the damaged Defiance. Earth was no longer fighting alone. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. Then our battleships broke the silence part. The arrival of the alien allies changed everything. The Tyrellian ships moved with incredible speed, their advanced weapons cutting through Zorian defenses. The Arctarians deployed strange devices that created localized gravity wells, trapping enemy vessels. The Novan Collective ships seemed to phase in and out of normal space, making them nearly impossible to hit. "We're being hailed by the Tyrellian flagship," Helen announced on the bridge of the damaged Defiance. A hologram appeared, showing a tall, slender being with pale blue skin and large, expressive eyes. "I am Commander Sill of the Tyrellian Defense Force. We have watched your battle from afar. Your courage against the Zorian Empire has inspired many worlds." Captain Eric Miller nodded respectfully. "We appreciate your help, Commander. Without it, I'm not sure we would have survived much longer." The Zorians have dominated our galaxy for too long, Syl replied. When we saw a world finally stand against them, we decided it was time to fight back. The combined forces of Earth and its new allies pushed the Zorian fleet back, with their flagship crippled by the Tyrellian attack and many ships disabled by the Jupiter weapon. The Zorian commander ordered a retreat. As the enemy vessels withdrew, from the solar system cheers erupted across Earth's fleet. They had survived. Against impossible odds, humanity had defended its home. The EDS Defiance was towed back to lunar base for repairs. The ship had taken heavy damage, but most of the crew had survived. In the medical bay, Dr. Olivia Ryan treated the wounded, working tirelessly to save everyone she could. Admiral John Mason organized a meeting with the representatives of Earth's new allies. The gathering took place in a large conference room at Lunar Command. John, Lisa Carter, and other key Earth leaders sat across from the alien representatives. Today marks a historic moment, John began. Not just for Earth, but for the galaxy. Together we've shown that the Zorian Empire is not invincible. Commander Syl of the Tyrellians nodded. For centuries we have lived under their rule. Many species have been conquered, their cultures suppressed, their resources taken. Your planet is the first to successfully resist. But they will return, warned the Arcturian representative, a stocky being with rock-like skin. The Empire does not forgive defiance. Then we must be prepared, John replied. I propose an alliance, not just for defense, but to help free other worlds from Zorian control. The aliens looked at each other, considering the proposal. Finally, the Novan representative spoke. Its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once, as Novans communicated through some form of telepathy. We agree. The time for submission is over. The Zorians believe themselves superior because of their technology and military might, but today they learned that spirit and determination can overcome even the greatest odds. Over the next days, Earth welcomed official delegations from their new allies. Scientists from all 4 species began sharing knowledge and technology. The unique approaches each civilization had developed provided new insights for everyone. Daniel Wright worked closely with the alien engineers, especially fascinated by the Novan's phase shift technology. If we could integrate this with our biomechanical systems, he explained to Helen, our ships could potentially move through solid matter. Helen's work with the ship's AI had taken a new direction as well. The Tyrellians have a different approach to artificial intelligence, she told Daniel. Their systems are more intuitive, less logical but more creative. While the technical teams collaborated, Howard Fuller prepared for his new role. As Earth's first official ambassador to the galactic community, he would represent humanity to dozens of alien species. Remember, Lisa advised him, most of these civilizations have never met humans before. They'll judge our entire species based on your actions. Howard nodded seriously. He was a thoughtful man who had previously worked as a diplomat in Earth's most troubled regions. I'll make sure they understand that we want peace, but we won't be conquered. A week after the battle, the Zorian ambassador Rel Thun returned to Earth. This time, there was no arrogance in his manner. He came not to demand surrender, but to negotiate. The meeting took place in the same United Nations hall where the Zorians had first appeared. World leaders gathered again, but now they were joined by representatives from Earth's alien allies. The Galactic Concord recognizes Earth as an independent world with spacefaring capabilities, Rel Thun stated. His 4 arms were held close to his body, a posture that humans now understood indicated respect. We propose a treaty of non-aggression. John Mason, standing beside the president, couldn't help but smile slightly. Just a short time ago, you demanded our surrender. What changed? The alien hesitated before answering. Your unique approach to warfare, your technology. Most species develop along predictable lines. Humans are different. Lisa stepped forward. We are willing to establish peaceful relations with all species in the galaxy, including the Zorian Empire, but as equals, not subjects. There is another matter, Rel Thun added. Several worlds within Zorian territory have declared independence since news of our setback reached them, The Empire is facing challenges on multiple fronts. This was exactly what Earth and its allies had hoped for. The battle in the solar system had been more than just a defense of Earth. It was the spark that might free dozens of oppressed worlds. 2 months later, Captain Eric Miller stood on the bridge of the rebuilt EDS Defiance. The ship had been repaired and improved with new technology shared by their allies. Beside him stood Syl of the Tyrellians, now serving as a liaison officer. Course set for the Arcturus system, Wash announced from the tactical station. Engage, Eric ordered. The Defiance led a mixed fleet of Earth, Tyrellian, Arctarian, and Novan vessels. Their mission was to help the people of Arcturus IV, who had risen against their Zorian overlords. It was the first of many such missions planned by the new alliance. On Earth, people looked to the stars with new understanding. They were no longer alone in the universe, and no longer hidden. Their world had joined the galactic community, not as a conquered planet, but as a respected power. Nicole Taylor, captain of Earth's first official diplomatic vessel, prepared to welcome visitors from 20 different alien worlds. Her ship, the EDS Harmony, was designed to showcase the best of human culture and achievement. As she greeted the aliens coming aboard, Nicole couldn't help but reflect on how quickly everything had changed. Just months ago, humanity had believed itself alone in the universe. Now they were helping reshape galactic politics. In his office, at Lunar Command, John Mason reviewed reports from across the galaxy. Earth ships were helping liberate worlds. Earth scientists were sharing knowledge with alien counterparts. Earth diplomats were building relationships with dozens of species. John thought back to the moment when the first Zorian ship had appeared, delivering its ultimatum. They had thought Earth was defenseless because they couldn't see its ships. They had believed humans were primitive because they had been silent. They never considered that silence might be strategy. They never imagined that humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Appearances could be deceiving. And Earth was now a power to be reckoned with, not because of its weapons or technology, but because of the indomitable spirit of its people. As Captain Eric Miller led his mission to Arcturus, he gathered his mixed crew of humans and aliens on the bridge. They thought we were defenseless because we were silent, he told them. They never considered we were silent because we were preparing. The Earth ships vanished into the depths of space, carrying humanity's determination to the stars. The silence was broken, and the galaxy would never be the same.